So now we're going to pick out Bruce Willis's dream date, and that happens to be Queen Elizabeth. So I'm going to do the same thing. I go to Quick Selection Tool. I go over here and I start to move it around, making sure that I capture as much as I can. And then remember that I have to go and fix up anything, like I'm missing part of her hair, so I go up to the minus sign and I come back over here and I click and capture as much as I can. And then I'm going to go to select and find inverse. And then I go again to select and I do refine edge. And I put that in where I want it. Let's just say 4 or 5. And then to the move tool. And I click over here and I watch. You see it's a double-sided cross. It moves to scissors and I bring her over like so. And now I have her, which I'm going to resize. But notice I've got all this stuff here, so I'm going to zoom in and I'm going to erase all this. So I just have her neck showing. So I click on the erase tool here and I start to erase. I want to make sure that I save the jewels, but everything else has to go. And it doesn't have to be really sharp, just so enough to fit on top of a dress. And there, I have her. Now, I want to get the next thing is I'm going to go and I'm going to go get the dress. Now I have the dress, and I'm going to go back to the same quick selection tool, and I'm going to go over here. Oops, I forgot to change it to plus. And I'm going to go over here and pick up all the way around her as best I can, and down at the bottom. And then I go back to the move tool, I go to select, I go to inverse, I go to select, I go to refine edge, I make it the same as the head, which was 5, say OK, and then I could go in here and grab it and left click and drag the dress over. So now I just go and I highlight the dress. I'm going to move it down near old Bruce there. Obviously the head is too big, so let's zoom in a little bit here and we'll make her fit better. And then I go to the Queen. I've already named her, and I go to Control T and I hold the shift button down. Very important because that holds it in proportion, keeps the ratio the same. And I bring her down and I check over here to see if she's the right size. Now she's behind it, so I've got to bring the Queen head on top. I'm going to hit enter first just to make sure that I've okay, now I bring the Queen's head on top of the dress. There we are. And get back onto the move tool and I bring her down. Obviously it's too big. Again, Control T, and I hold the shift button down and I bring her down to size her so that she's about the right size, like so. Okay, and then I hit enter and I want to erase a portion of that back model there on the dress. So I just click on dress, go to the erase tool, and then I can erase all of that back there so it won't get in the way. Okay, so what you do from this point on is once they're sized properly, you're going to do exactly the same thing you did before. That is, you're going to merge the layers, you're going to create a duplicate, name it a shadow, go to Control T for the free transform, inside, go to distort and drag it down, and then drop your opacity down and drop your increase the filtration on the edge to blur it some. So I'll finish this up and we'll see how it looks. So I've sped things up a bit. The Queen has her head on her dress, and I've also added, if you can see that, her little dog. It's a corgi. That's her favorite dog. Okay, now I have to add some dialogue. So I go over here to the T tool and I click on the horizontal and I draw that boundary box. And then I have the Queen say, "Oh, Bruce, you are so handsome." And then I click off on the Move tool. I come back to the T tool, make another boundary box for Bruce, and then he says, "Thanks, Queen. I like your dog too." Now, all that we have left is to add the speech bubbles and a title, and we're finished. So let's take a look at the speech bubbles. We go over to the toolbar, and you come down, and if you remember, it's 1, 2, 3 below, I'm sorry, 2 below the typing tool. So you just hold it down, and you choose the bottom one, which is the custom shape tool. When you go back up to the upper toolbar, you go to shape, drop it down, and if you click over here, you get all sorts of choices. You come down towards the bottom and you choose talk bubbles. You say OK, and now all you have here are talk bubbles. So we'll choose one, and we're going to drag that out like so, and we're going to make it fit over the words. Now we can't see it, and also it's a color that we don't like. So I'm going to stop here and change it. So I'm going to change the color very simply. I right click on the layer, go to blending options, and I go to color overlay, click on the color up here, and let's change it to kind of a purple, lilac, and there we have it. So in order to switch this little point here, all I have to do is go Control T, and I move my cursor inside the box, right click, and I say flip horizontal. And then it's over here. And I can move that into position if I want. Then I hit enter. Now I want the same thing for Bruce. So rather than redoing everything, I go over here to that shape that I just made. I right click and I say duplicate layer. Okay. And now I have an extra one. If I go to the move tool and move it over, and hopefully it will fit. And there it fits for Bruce. So now I have my dialogue, I have my speech bubbles, and now I just need a title. So over here on the right side, I typed in my title, A Perfect Joliet Date. And I want to change the color, so I double click on the T and I go over here to the area down here to change it, or I can go up here and change it like so. And let's just pick another one of those purple ones and I say OK. And I can also, while I'm there, make it bigger. Okay, so I just click there and I drop it down and I have my perfect Joliet date. In order to see it, I click off. And at this point, you want to put on your filter or your blending options. And you just right click, go back to blending options. And you want it to stand out nicely. So you can pick stroke. You can make that bigger. And you choose whatever you want, whatever you think is going to be appropriate for it. And you remember the different ones that we had. We had outer glow. And we click on the word and we get the spread. And we make things bigger or smaller. Okay? Whatever you want to do with it, just so long as you have that and your name on it. And there is your project.